The Construct Cast is made possible by viewers like you. Please visit us at commutationconstruct.locals.com. Memberships are free to start with coupon code CCFREE. Recording here, and clap for sync. Oh wait, you know what? I usually do the clap before I hit record on this. Oh well, whatever.
Behind the scenes of the technical aspect. I love messing up on camera and then the audience see like I'm just starting.
This way I don't need to edit the actual video too much. I just clip off a few seconds. Happening.
This hair is a mess.
Okay, well we're recording. So
I know. No, I'm fine.
All right.
The audience can know that I'm unhappy with my hair. It's totally fine. The more the audience sees of you being yourself, it's just like it there's that connection.
All right. Well, welcome everyone. This is the Construct Cast. This is our first one with a guest. This is Malakai. He is our branding lead. Malakai takes care of making all of our logos and whatnot here. So I thought I'd let him introduce himself to you guys.
Hello, Malakai, and happy to be here.
All right. So for today's show, I thought I would give a bit of a just conversation with Malakai. It's going to be a very casual podcast this time. We're not going to go into anything too deep or anything like that. So why don't you sort of tell people what kind of inspired the designs you took for the logo?
So you mean so like the band, it's like, I kind of made a banner, right? I didn't know what platforms you wanted to use. So I made a general banner with commutation construct.
Yep.
And I found this abstract thinking man when I was Googling. You didn't really help me out with like what you wanted anything to look like. I was like colors or style, font, animal, nothing. Like usually I make artwork for people and it's very like, I'll ask them some key things they want in it and then I'll try to incorporate into like, you know, my, what's the word? Like, rough draft or concept art, and they'll kind of it's a team effort. We'll put a piece together. Their vision, I bring it to life. We either meet somewhere in the middle, or I perfectly do the thing for them. You're just like, just make something. So that was kind of hard. So I actually wanted to make it's like a overhead of a desk, and the writing was on the desk. I tried to use like 3D animation. Spent a while on it, and you were just like, nah, I don't like it, and I was like, okay. But I did shoot for something pretty complicated first, which I shouldn't have done. You should go from easy to more complex, like gradually, like it's a spectrum. But so I went from 3D and then I just made something pretty basic, like it's black and white and it's got a gray abstract thinking man that I made. I was inspired by, there's like an abstract thinking man on Google that I saw and I was like, ooh, that'd be cool. So I made like my version of it. And I put it in the corners of commutation construct, and it kind of blocks the words because I was thinking about like updating your art and kind of making them not block the words. But it looked cool when I made the first one. I just sent you the picture, and I was like, "Hey, I made this. It's kind of cool." And you're like, "Yeah, I like it." But you didn't tell me what platforms you're going to use, so I don't know sizing because like I could size it however you want. I could put the thinking men different places. I could angle I can do different stuff. But you were just like, "Yeah, it's good." I was happy. Cool. Yeah, you were happy, and I was just like, okay, cool. But I don't know what websites you're on. I don't know like the sizing because I kind of size my stuff for like YouTube, or I'll make like the square thumbnails for like or square like artwork. I guess you'd call it for like Spotify and since it's a podcast, I didn't know what you were going for because you said you would do a forum type deal, so I thought it was like, you know, you'd write pieces like you say you do. Yeah. So I was like, I don't know what your format is.
Right, so the format is there's a lot of video content, a lot of written content. I kind of fell away a bit from the written content.
I don't know how I should be angled. Sorry.
It's okay. But I fell a bit away from the written content for a while as the video content picked up. And the written content always got it got some views, but not always. It didn't always seem to attract that much attention.
Sure.
Though lately I decided, all right, I opened up a Medium account. So now I'm doing my written content, my more in-depth written content through Medium. Today, actually, my first one went live. And I'm doing the video content mainly. I post it on YouTube, and then I bring it over to Locals. So that's what I'm using as my host website currently. So I've got a bunch of different websites that I'm working on. Eventually, there will be things like Patreon and all of those whatevers that we've got.
I thought Patreon was for like
subscription stuff.
Yeah, well, no. When I hear Patreon, I think OnlyFans. Right? Because like when girls say they have Patreon, I think that usually means like OnlyFans.
Well, maybe with a lot of girls, that's the case.
Yes. Like when you said you were making a Patreon, I was like, is that the right
Subscribe Star? Ben.
Yeah.
Let's go. Let me say Subscribe Star because it's not gonna have that connotation.
Yeah. Well, because like I'm sure you can find some like really risque stuff on Patreon, which is like, so you're telling me
I'm pretty sure you actually can.
That I'm see. So yeah. So like do you go on Patreon and you have to like navigate wisely? Because like you go down the wrong hole and you're just in some weird stuff.
I have no idea. I don't really. I don't actually use Patreon myself.
Yeah.
There are a few people who I like to support, but I don't usually go. I've never gone through any. I've never gone through Patreon or Subscribe Star for it.
Yeah. Well, I have one of my questions. I guess if I was just to, because this is off the cuff, we haven't really planned kind of the flow of this. My question would be, I only made like kind of the starting artwork, but like your show. I don't know much about the show part. I just know about you requesting the artwork. What's your target demo?
Target demographic is...
Like, who are on these medium.coms and forum websites, and who do you want on your Patreon? Like, who are you trying to attract?
Honestly...
Consumer-wise.
Consumer-wise, basically anyone with an interest in, like, philosophical discussions. I don't really narrow it down to... specific demographics because I also cover a broad variety of different topics.
Okay.
I'm not just gonna settle on one thing. With my website, it's a bit more politically aimed. I've got a whole series where I'm reading historical documents as well as
I see like
speeches.
you have a Hamilton book over there. So
I was just actually sent that Hamilton book by my dad's business partner.
Okay.
Because I was telling him what I was doing. He's just like, "You haven't read Hamilton yet? You need to read Hamilton." It's like, oh, okay.
So is it like it's the biography?
Honestly, I'm not entirely sure.
Is it
it's a novel?
Because I'm like, is it like his life's work, or is it his life, or is it like his life and how that shaped his life's work?
I think it's a novel. It's a novel that the play was based on.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Though it's a very loose adaptation in the play.
Right, because it's a musical, so it's like artistic license was taken.
Right, exactly.
So this is like just kind of like politics and the duel and stuff, and like and I guess his romance.
Yeah, so I haven't had a chance to start it yet.
That's thick. That's a thick one.
It's 713 pages.
It's like
in single line.
If I could like it's like that thick.
It's a Bible.
That's the thing. I'm looking at it. It's like this thick.
Yeah, I'm just like, oh, you're trying to kill me with how slow I read. Yeah. And you guys who have seen my commutation readings episodes, you know how slowly I read because I read those in real time. That's as fast as I actually read when I go through and do those analyses.
How do you count views on your platforms? How do you know how many people have seen your stuff? Because I'm only familiar with YouTube and like audio.
So
websites.
So I've got YouTube for the basic YouTube purposes. It tracks the time. It tracks the clicks. On the website, it'll give me some view counts. It has statistics for how many of my posts have been viewed, as well as how many likes I've gained, how many comments, yada yada. Though it does include my own. So it's a little...
Are you getting feedback from your target demo?
I'm working a bit on that. Again, it's still pretty small and starting up.
Yeah.
At this point. Sometimes I put up polls and stuff, and I'll usually get like 2 to 3 responses on those.
Well, yeah, I mean...
It's not...
I don't know much about your... I don't know what to call it. Market?
Yeah.
The philosophical / political... It's not like... political in terms of like it's almost like historical, how the historical political views are being implemented, maybe how they can connect to today.
So it's kind of a more principle of politics as opposed to specific policy,
right?
Typically,
sometimes
I talked about like the election and stuff like that. You guys know this, but So that's kind of what the channel is working with.
Because I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I just see the camera. I see the mic. I made the artwork. I don't know what happened after that.
Yeah. So why don't you tell them about the logo then?
Well, we did. I talked about it.
Well, you talked about the banner. We didn't talk too much about the logo.
Oh, you mean the circle thing?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I can't really talk much about that. I think I don't really remember kind of what you finally decided on, because I made a logo that I would deem as a logo, but then I kind of what's the word? I kind of like omnitrixed it. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, like so the logo. So yeah, so the logo I made.
I've got it pulled up for him.
Yeah. So the logo is so it's a thinking man is the kind of the center of it, because I mean I thought the thinking man like actual like head with the hand, like it's a thinking pose. So I mean that makes a good center fold for whatever your kind of logo was going to be. There were a lot of iterations, so I couldn't really remember what the final verdict was, because I remember
I wanted to make a few different takes on it. I have one that has the logo written in, and one that doesn't have it, where it's kind of inverted.
Yeah.
So it looks like it has two C's in the logo.
Yeah, I just remember playing with like a bunch of versions. So I mean, this is very omnitrixy. Yeah, I mean it's
for anyone who doesn't know what the Omnitrix is.
Oh, the Ben 10 the watch, the thing he twists and hits to get his monsters. It's very like almost gear like or something like that.
And I feel like that makes it really good for kind of the for a way to capture the image of what we're going for here with with us being a philosophical thinking channel.
Sure. It's very just weird to look at for me. Like I know you like it. It's so like it's not my taste. Like as the artist, my goal is to like please the person who wants it, like I guess the customer. It's just so like I don't know, like because I remember you really be like I love it, make these changes, and it's almost like there's a movie called Epic Movie. It's like in the world of Scary Movie and Date Movie. It's when Mystique is hooking up with the main blonde guy who has the chicken wings on his back. He's supposed to be like Archangel from X-Men, but he and they're in the Narnia world, and he likes her because he goes to the X-Men school and he has a crush on her, and they have a love scene, and she's like, you know, like I want you, let's do it. And he's like, cool, let me just make these changes. And so she's Mystique, Carmen Electra's playing her. So she's like, she's perfect kind of already. And he starts making like these weird requests. He's like, I want grandma arms, and I want you to change your hair color, and I want your butt bigger, but I also want your stomach bigger, and I want like a sloppier mouth. And like at the end of it, she does, and she's like the whole time she's like, okay, and she's like making all these changes. By the end of it, I'm like the audience is like, Jesus, like it was sexy, and then it turned into like this
grotesque,
this mess. But it's hilarious because she and the whole time she's like, okay, like sure, fine. Loosely, that's kind of what I feel like, because I felt like I had an idea and then we morphed it, and I was just like, this is what you wanted. You're like, great, and I was like, it's all you, man. It's all you. You want a cheeseburger with gummies and raisins, and you want two different types of bread, one on top, one on bottom. You got it. Like, I'll make it.
Well, I like having the one that has the title of the website inside the logo, but I also like having the one that doesn't have that.
Yeah.
Because one that doesn't have it is the one I typically will put in. You are just obsessed with your hair today.
It's reversed, so it's I don't like this reverse image.
I know.
For those who are like, why is this kid keep messing with himself? It's because we have the reverse image, obviously.
I tried to mirror it in OBS and I couldn't find it.
Yeah, I just don't like it, and I also don't like where I'm supposed to be angled in terms of like this is I'm a guest, so I'm like I don't know the setup. Like I have my own show, and like being a host, like you know your setup, so like you know how to angle everything, but this is not mine, so.
Yeah. Do you want to plug your show a bit?
Not really. I did this podcast a while ago, and because when COVID hit, I had kind of had to put a stop to it, basically, you know, because like I do it in my car. I travel around and I have like handheld mics, and I just ask people questions about their life and their dreams and stuff like that. But I hadn't been able to do guests because either everyone's catching COVID or everyone's scared of catching COVID. So being in a car, even with like people I know well, it's just like people are like, it's not as not taboo. It's just not like people are just like kind of scared of the idea versus anything else.
Human interaction is taboo at this point.
Basically. Like, people aren't even high-fiving anymore, handshaking, they're elbow touching, so it's like, it's rough. It's rough. I remember one girl asked me to sanitize my mic before she held it.
Oh, jeez.
And, like, I don't mind. I don't mind that I did it. It was just like, this is where it's not how it started.
Yeah.
It's like a de-evolution versus an evolution, in my opinion.
Yeah, I completely understand where you're coming from with this. It can be tough going through everything with COVID, just how people are responding to it. There's a lot of fear with it.
Yes, a lot of fear. And then it also tied into politics so much. Like, in terms of, like, like Trump's, like, approach to it, or interactions between, the White House and the scientists who were, like, the cure, and then, of course, the economy, like, businesses shutting down.
And all the states, too.
Yeah, but Florida got the best and worst of it, I'd say, right? Because Florida's, like, the loose cannon state who, like, DeSantis is kind of like, he's stopping the mandates. Like, he's stopping the punishments for mandates. Like, he keeps, because I think on Facebook it said he extended it. He's like, don't you fine people for not wearing a mask? And, like, he loves, like, the beach parties and stuff. Like, he's always, like, he's for the spring break, Fort Lauderdale. He loves, like, Fort Lauderdale's always, like, pretty crazy with the parties and the beach life. And he's just like, go, have fun, party. And then bars
do your thing.
and then, everyone's, like, in the Senate, and everybody's just like, close the bars. And so Florida bars closed, and then all the restaurants pretty much doubled in their sales of alcohol because people couldn't go to bars anymore. So restaurants were making even more money because, or bars were starting to serve food. That way they'd be considered a restaurant so they could stay in business.
Yep.
And it's also affecting small businesses because they're getting shut down because people are afraid to, like, go out anymore. And they're, Amazon's actually, like, killing it.
Yeah.
All the home deliveries.
Yeah.
Killing it.
It's really centralized a lot of business within those, like, big conglomerate stores that have the online infrastructure and that have the deliveries.
Do you agree economically that the rich people got richer from COVID and kind of like the...
Well, it depends on how you define rich.
Sure.
So I wouldn't necessarily say that it's just, the rich people got richer. I would say that it is the big conglomerates that concentrated all the wealth.
Yeah.
It's the big guys who didn't have to go through all the shutdowns that ended up getting that.
Do you think
benefit from it?
Do you think the big businesses set up themselves in a way that they knew they'd thrive in it? Like, you couldn't have predicted this pandemic, but do you think the businesses set up themselves in a way that they were almost pandemic proof?
I don't think they're necessarily pandemic proof. I think the only thing that's keeping them afloat is the fact that there were so many smaller businesses that closed down.
Right.
So it's less that they're being harmed. It's more so that while people are spending less money, where they are spending money is being concentrated straight to them.
Yeah.
So we could actually be in an overall market recession. However, these big businesses could all be thriving because everything's receding but going into them.
Yes. Because, I have an example. So, like,
their market share just, like, explodes.
I have a very simple example. Nothing too kind of not braggadocious, too, like, high end. But I have, like, a simple example. So there's a Starbucks by my house.
Yeah.
It was a small, like, little plaza Starbucks, and then a Burger King shut down, and they got the Burger King, and total construction came in and revamped it now it's like this giant, the size of a Burger King, it's a giant Starbucks, right, with a drive-through now. So it went from simple, like, walk-in Starbucks to giant building drive-through Starbucks. But there was always, right next to that Burger King, previous Burger King, was a little, like, a mom-and-pop coffee shop.
Yep.
But Starbucks previously had been, like, 0.7 miles, maybe a mile away in distance. So you had that kind of space. Now the Burger King shut down. Starbucks takes that one. Now Mom and Pop is the little building next to it. And they don't have a drive-through. So one, you're losing money off people out of convenience, people driving through the drive-through, getting their coffee with speed. But now COVID, people are scared to go in buildings, and drive-throughs are flourishing. That safe medium. I want Starbucks. I don't want to go in. They have a drive-through. I love this mom and coffee shop, but I'm scared of COVID, so I'm not going to walk in this building with lines.
Have you seen the lines at Chick-fil-A?
They were crazy before COVID. I don't even want to entertain the Chick-fil-A.
Now they're double lines. Dude, they're double lines and they're full.
Whoever owns Chick-fil-A if they aren't, I'm surprised Chick-fil-A isn't beating Amazon in terms of like whoever the owner of Chick-fil-A isn't competing with Jeff Bezos. I'm genuinely surprised. Every Chick-fil-A I go to, any Chick-fil-A in America, if you're going to Chick-fil-A and there's not 30 people in line in 2 lines when you already get there, show me a picture of that Chick-fil-A where there's not 30 people in both lines with people standing every 3 feet with the little tablets.
Yep.
It's insane. It's
crazy. I love Chick-fil-A. I think I think their stuff is great, but it's crazy just how much these
where does the demand come from? Like, it's great. I love it. I could eat it I could eat it every day. But, like, every day the line is over 30 people. I've never, in the past year, minimum, like, just as far back as I'm thinking the past year and a half.
Yeah.
It was, like, when we were in college, it really wasn't like that. Yeah. It, like, boomed recently. In my opinion.
Chick-fil-A did a massive expansion just a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
And the thing is, they also got in on the health trends in this way.
Yes, it did.
Because even before it became a national regulation, they started going with the more organic chicken that doesn't...
Cold wraps, salads.
They did the cold wraps and salads, but they also changed their chicken so that it's not raised with any kind of...
GMOs or anything?
Not GMOs. And antibacterials and stuff. So antibiotics. So they made sure that they had the no antibiotics ever stuff, which is really big because the reason that people cared about that a year ago was because they were scared of the development of a superbug. Now we have a pandemic and everyone is over sanitizing everything.
Yeah.
So if anyone was wondering why COVID seems to be, changing a lot. Sometimes the symptoms have changed over the months.
Yeah.
And why all this stuff is happening. It's because we're basically creating a super COVID. We are in the process.
Yeah, well, they said it was evolving.
Yeah. I think by May there were like over 20 or 30 strains in New York.
Dude, every time I go on YouTube, there's the health kind of section where it's recommended, but it's all health and it's like different reports about like cases. And every time I open it up, it's like minimum 11,000 new cases, 30,000 new cases, 100,000 new cases, like every day. Yeah. Because it'll be like, this was 8 hours ago. This was 12 hours ago. This was 14 hours ago. And that's crazy. So the scare is up because even people can't even go on YouTube or Google without seeing like a high number. Yeah. A minimum within the 10,000s of new cases. A lot of people I know after college moved to New York for no reason, just to live in New York. I don't know whose dream it is to move to New York just to live in New York.
My brother's.
Yeah, but like, it's just like I always assumed you moved to New York because there's a market there that you want. It's the big city market-wise.
The opportunity.
Yeah, so like an actor wants to move there to be on Broadway. A singer wants to be there to be on Broadway or perform in New York because it's the big city of dreams or whatever. But like someone who's just like, yeah, I just like New York. I don't know what that means. I just like New York. What does that mean? You like subways and you like big cities and you like small apartments and you like high cost of living and you like street hot dogs or street, what's that? Halil guys, or you like, shawarma or bagels.
Yeah.
Or you're pizza. You're like Orthodox Jewish and you like to live in the sector. The B&H photo. You guys know what I'm talking about, the B&H photo. Have you ever been to the B&H photo in New York? Like, no. Where people order the cameras from B&H photo. I've been to the store. I don't know what sect it is, so I don't want to mislabel the group, but it's the Jewish community, and they wear the hats.
They're probably Hasidic.
And they have the little curls and the long beards. You go on B&H photo, and all of, like, the visually bearded with the hats and stuff like that, they work behind the counters. To be a non-Jewish member of the Jewish religion to work there, everyone who's not that sect, like the teens, the like younger people, or maybe they'd be Jewish, but like anybody just for a standard job, you just kind of stand in the aisles in our customer service. You actually no non-Jewish members work behind the counter. When we went in, I went with like 3 people. We were like, this is different. I won't say weird, but it's like a, not a family, but it's like a community thing where it's like they don't put you behind the counter unless you're like one of them, essentially. Yep. It's very interesting to see. I didn't know that. In fact, most people order off the website and don't really get the face-to-face interaction. I've been there. That's visually just astounding to me. That's astounding to me.
Yeah, especially coming from Florida, where we don't really have any of those communities.
Yeah, it's a cesspool of ethnicities. Like it's because I don't,
melting pot.
Yeah, they get called the melting pot because you get like anything. Well, I mean, I guess there's like areas. Like if you go down South Florida, it's a large like Hispanic group. Or you go to like, you go to like kind of northern Florida. There's a lot of actual like I would say like country
rednecks.
Yeah, because Florida's the South, but it's not all the South. It's not all like pickup trucks and mudding and camouflage. Like
North Florida is the South.
The
part
South.
Of Florida.
South Florida's the beaches, the party, the Fort Lauderdale, the stuff like that. That's a more Hispanic and stuff like that. So for like...
It's where all the Northerners retire to.
Exactly. So when you go to New York and it's these boroughs and these actual like legit like Chinatown and you got like the Jewish sect with the B&H photo.
And Little Italy.
And Little Italy. Like that was interesting to me. But like for people who want to just move there, that doesn't make any sense. You make no sense. Now if you're from New York and that's all you know and you're going to stay there and live there and continue your legacy there and generations there, fine, that makes sense. But for you to be from Florida and just be like, I just want to live in New York because that's my dream, that doesn't make any sense. Find a new dream. I don't understand. Unless your passion takes you to New York because your market thrives there. That's why you moved to New York. That's it. I just wanted to say that because I was in New York for 3 months after graduation because I was telling you people who moved there after graduation, they moved there just to move there. The pandemic hit, they were all forced back to Florida. Hey, how's New York? Oh well, there was a super virus and we were the epicenter. What? How is your market doing? Market? Yeah. Why'd you move up there? Oh, just to live there. Well, now you're back. So you had nothing concrete making it worth staying there. Yeah. Some people actually stayed there, like even during the pandemic. Like some people stayed.
My brother stayed as long as he could, and my brother's heading back soon.
Yeah,
actually.
Well, now I know people who go to NYU, and so for like grad school, and they were like, yeah, it's kind of mellowed out, but it's rising. Now it's like back to rising.
Well, yeah, I mean we're heading into flu season.
Exactly.
So people are naturally going to be getting more sick. It's colder out, so people are more susceptible to disease. And it's funny though, because if you look at where the World Health Organization was tracking the flu, it basically completely dropped off in March as the COVID cases were rising. So it's like, is there some conflation here, or did they just stop tracking it? That's one of the conspiracies
like
about
the agenda.
Which I think is kind of funny. Yeah,
their agendas. No, I think
you want to talk about agendas? Look at the World Economic Forum. The World Economic Forum has all these posts about how they want to use COVID. Like this is legitimate stuff. They talk about it actively, where they're saying they want to use COVID-19 in order to restructure capitalism based around racial identity groups.
Yeah, well,
racial justice.
Well, I remember there was when COVID first started. There were articles like, there was I don't know who did it, but it might have been like Vice, because Vice is kind of like edgy like that. They were like, why aren't any black people getting COVID? That was like one of their first videos I saw. I was like, what? And they were like, minorities are less likely to catch COVID, and I was like, I don't know about that.
And then by the middle of the summer, it was black people are dying more from COVID than anyone else.
Yeah, like they started like racially targeting the COVID cases. I was like,
it's such a dirty media game.
Oh my god.
It's disgusting.
I thought it was funny. It didn't even make me panic. I was like, what is this?
I know, right?
Those who bought Pokemon cards from 2001 to 2002 are more likely to get COVID than someone who bought Yu-Gi-Oh cards 2003 to 2004. Like, what? Like, what are these studies? Like, who cares? Who cares? And also, what is with the rise of unboxing Pokemon cards now on YouTube?
I have no idea.
That came out of it because Logan Paul did like a huge one. He's like, if you go on YouTube and just search for Pokemon cards, one of the top results has to be Logan Paul, who's like who's the guy who recorded the dead Japanese forest.
Which you're not supposed to do.
Which you're not supposed to do. So that's that guy. He is one of the top videos when you look up like the unboxing Pokemon. I don't know why that's trending. I don't know. I want to know.
Probably just because he did it.
No, he did it because he saw someone else do it. He's a big name, so of course it helped with him.
Well, maybe PewDiePie did something.
Yeah, like
related to it.
I hate the world of trending because I can't ever track where it started. Now you see the big names do it, and that helps. But who are these big names
feeding
Like,
off of.
like did the creator of Pokemon call some big YouTubers and be like,
no.
like,
Well, sometimes they do.
That's what I'm saying. Like, if it's like targeted,
Usually they don't always target the big YouTubers though. They'll go for the people who specifically do those things. So there are like specific Pokemon YouTubers who they'll target, and then sometimes these big guys watch those guys
and they'll be
because
like,
they're
we could,
interested.
well, we could
They're
do
just
it.
like, oh, this looks cool. I'm gonna do this too.
Yeah, for ideas, and then if a big enough name does it, then it trends.
Like I think that's how PewDiePie ends up doing a ton of stuff. Like he'll see stuff, he'll be like, oh, that looks really cool. I'm gonna do that too, and I'll make a video
So
about
then all of his
and
fans,
then it just goes everywhere.
Yeah,
it goes everywhere from that. That's kind of how the trending works.
I wish it was Yu-Gi-Oh instead of Pokemon because I didn't really collect Pokemon.
Yeah. I've got plenty of Yu-Gi-Oh cards.
I have some Naruto cards. That if that niche market wants to unbox some Naruto cards, if they even sell Naruto cards anywhere.
Oh my gosh, I think I got 1 or 2 structure decks from that.
Well, I remember I bought when you get the video game. They sometimes they come with a card.
Really? For
I have
Naruto?
I have a Mecha Naruto card.
Oh my gosh,
that's why I love
hilarious.
the character in the video game because I got the card when I bought like Revolution, Naruto Ninja Storm Revolution. I think that was the first one with Mecha Naruto. I think it is Revolution. I think, and I got the card.
Okay, that's funny.
Yeah,
that's funny. But yeah,
what else do you talk about on here? I don't know.
Well,
like I've just been kind of throwing out kind of what I've been experiencing, but I don't necessarily know if you try to like attack anything in a certain category.
So usually when we're recording these, what I like to do is I'll have a topic and I'll kind of just do stream of thought like analysis of that type of topic.
Mm-hmm.
Or I did a series called the life cycle of Empire. Is that what I called it? Now I'm forgetting my own series.
You know what you should do in terms of like
maybe not the fate.
What is it?
It was based on I did a series based on the Fate of Empires. Which is an essay by a guy named Sir John Glubb. He was a historian from England, worked a lot in the Middle East, came back and wrote this essay a very succinct essay that put together a lot of his research on how empires lived and fell, what all their stages were, and how to approach it from a more scientific perspective, approach history through a scientific perspective.
Mm-hmm.
So I did a series on that because I thought it was really interesting, and so I would have some episodes where I kind of walked through sort of the different parts of his essay. I walked through an analysis of it, kind of I made an episode where I did sort of revelations based on it, which is like, hey, what can we do to kind of prevent empires from dying? Because the U.S. is towards the end of that age currently, based on his work. Which, by the way, he printed it in it was either 66 or 76.
Right.
So like this is decades old, and he was saying, yeah, the U.S. is in like the second, third to last stage at that point. And he said we were at the halfway point back 100 years ago, 110 years ago. Mm-hmm. So we're right at that kind of like turning cusp from that. So I did it. So I covered, essentially went through his paper somewhat as it was written, paragraph by paragraph. You could say chronologically, but I don't think that's the right word for it. And I also, my one after that was sort of going back saying, okay, here are the things I kind of learned from it. Here's kind of my like free flow thoughts on what we could do to as a response to this to kind of maintain or reinitiate the empire of the U.S., for example. And I also have done some conversations on like my own belief systems, principles, and my own definitions for words and how I frame things.
Sure.
So there's a lot of that type of stuff.
Yeah. I was thinking you should do a smash or pass of U.S. presidents or world leaders. That'd be like merging the realms of the trending formats and your
and my type of content.
And yeah, in your field
just
of
abuse
field
the
of
algorithm.
I won't say field of expertise, but like your passion.
Yeah.
Be like, you'd be like, top 50, the 50, how many, so we're at, what, 40, what number of president? Or are we at 45?
45.
45? So you'd be like, okay, so, we're gonna, like, the first episode can be just, like, Republican presidents, and you kind of, like, have a tournament bracket style, and you're like, okay, I'd smash him. So because, like, once you get deep enough, you could have, like, consolation rounds. So, like, someone you didn't smash, right? And then it's two people you didn't smash that you passed on, but then they have to battle each other. You're like, oh, I don't like either of these guys, but if I had to, that'd be funny. Like, because you could do smash or pass and, like, you know, one winner, one loser, so that keeps going. But then the losers, you have to, like, really suck it up and be like, damn, like, I have to choose someone. Like, out of these two, one of them's got to go home, but one of them can, and what if, like, in a weird way, it's a bracket, so what if, like, one guy, like, you change your mind, and one guy that lost in the beginning makes his way back up to these, like, in the finals. And you're like, holy cow, and the audience is like, whoa, like, he said no to him, like, first day, but now it's like, you know, now we're in this regional, now we're in the quarterfinals, and he kind of came back up.
Yeah, the grand finale. You have the winners bracket, losers
bracket.
Like
your taste change, or you learn like a policy that like you didn't like about one guy. So you're like, nah, you know what? I wouldn't smash him. I actually smash the other guy because he's not as attractive facially, but his policies were better. And then he kind of works his way back up. Like you learn something new, like as it goes on. You're like, whoa.
That's
like he actually forged the way for women's rights. So then he like comes back up. So I don't know. That'd be interesting.
That's funny. That's interesting. I was thinking I could do a series on the top like 20 presidents and why they suck.
The top 20 and why they suck. Like he was awesome, but he did suck. Like he's awesome in comparison, but he kind of sucked. But that's like every kind of leader. Like
exactly.
They do great. They're in a position of power, so they're capable of doing great things, and sometimes they do, but they don't. Every great thing has a crappy thing. Also.
Yeah. Yeah, I think George Washington probably did the best of all of our presidents, honestly, just because I read the way he speaks, and because I went through a couple of his speeches.
You went to a couple of his speeches?
Well, I read through.
You went to a couple of his speeches?
I read through.
The first president of the United States.
Yes, I went to his speeches. So I read through a couple of the...
Is that 1800s? George Washington? Because 1776, I knew was the...
Yeah, so 1789 is when he was first elected.
Because I knew it was like, it has to be late 1700s or early 1800s.
Yeah.
I didn't know when they started the actual system of
yeah
doing it. I knew they had a Declaration of Independence, but I'm like, when is that, and then when is the first actual election?
So when we did the Declaration of Independence, we made the Articles of Confederation around that time.
Yes.
Which was our initial form of government.
Right.
And then after, there were a few rebellions and stuff, and some infighting, and then... people in Pennsylvania, I think, got really annoyed, and they were like, hey, we want to have a stronger federal system, and we ended up getting the Constitution.
Yes.
So there was a constitutional convention in
yes, I know a lot
1787.
Of these titles.
It's got ratified by 11 of the states in 1789, so it was adopted then, and then we got the Bill of Rights 2 years later.
I feel like you should have a PBS show that you just teach children, like a very simplified
versions of history.
Maybe not versions of history, but like not just like little like tidbits. Like you're the fun fact guy.
Fun fact.
Like you have someone who doesn't know, and you basically like give a concise. Like you don't go too deep. You get like it's a 30-second spot, and you kind of just hit it.
Yeah, well, if you watch some of my podcasts, you would see that I'm not good at just hitting those 30-second spots.
I know. I've known you longer than this show, so I know that. What's your favorite color? Well, you see, it's actually very interesting because, see, red actually wasn't established until 1893.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah. All right.
Oh, I just nudged your camera.
That's fine. But yeah, so... Anyhow, so I'm thinking that eventually there's going to be more stuff that I'll work with you on. You'll be able to produce some more type of visual stuff. If you want to work on creating more banners and logos and
sure, I just need the sizing. I need the website, that way I know the sizing, because like sizing for everything's different.
Yep. Yeah. Well, what you've given me has worked out very well so far. It's been able to adapt because most of them I've only had to shrink it down, so it ends up still looking good, and it just actually gets more sharp typically. So it's been they've worked out very well.
Cool.
I've been very happy with them. I look forward to doing more work. Maybe one day we'll even be making stuff for shirts.
That'd be cool.
All right, guys. This is it for the Construct cast today. A very casual cast for once. So remember, hit that like button if you liked it. If you didn't, you know what to do. Leave a comment on your thoughts, things you'd like to see, what you would like Malakai to work on for us, if anything. And yeah, I will talk to you guys later.
And the shirt is burgundy. It looks brown on camera.
It's a very nice shirt. All right. Where's stop? All right. Have a good one, guys.